Joining me now to discuss, Ronnie Gall is an analyst at Bernstein. Ronnie, it's good to have you. A lot of investors have been, trading these vaccine names, and the price action today maybe tells you that there was not fully priced in just how many mandates we're starting to see, as I mentioned, from the armed forces to New York City public schools to New Jersey public schools, you name it. What would you say to people about the stocks?
So it seems that a lot of those good news are now priced in. We now have both the U.S. and most of the rest of the developed world already committing to buy those vaccines from Pfizer and Moderna at a higher price than the first wave of vaccination, about 10-20%. We don't know if there'll be a need for an additional boosting beyond the current boosting that is being discussed. And it seems like a lot of those positive news seems to be a bit priced in. To believe that there's a further upside, you need to believe that COVID will be with us and the need to be vaccinated would be with us for many, many years to go. And we're not quite sure we have the scientific data to argue that just yet.
Sure. So, especially when you look at Moderna's performance, it's up, 288% this year. What do you think that's pricing?
It's bigger than Bristol, and
it's
bigger than Bristol and bigger than Merck, Sharp and Dohme.
Wow.
Market cap.
Do you think that could ever be borne out in terms of people looking at this and going, okay, they did it. They brought a drug to market, a vaccine to market based on mRNA. Now think about what they could do from here.
So I think to argue that this valuation is justified, you have to believe that this technology will be spread out across multiple areas of vaccinology, and more of that will be used to deliver proteins to the bloodstream beyond vaccine. So you're now beginning to get to the point where further upside really depends on a long scientific horizon for messenger RNA. And, obviously there's be multiple advances needed to justify that going forward.
So if I were to say, what's the next phase of biotech plays as we look hopefully beyond the pandemic? We look at Pfizer's other acquisition today, oncology. The idea, as Joe was talking about this morning, of oncology vaccines, even maybe at some point in the future. What's the next play for biotech?
So there are two things. So first, if you look at the biotech on like mid cap and large cap, all the action focused on the vaccine names. The rest of the industry have not done particularly well. If you look at the last 12 months, especially when compared to the market. And this is because there's a wave of news coming out from DC near term about what the current administration will try to do when it comes to drug prices. And that's all in the next 45 days. Beyond that, we think what probably is going to happen is a broadening of the love to the sector. And coming to the fourth quarter beyond that, we are looking for some recovery in the mid-cap biotech, more importantly in the large cap pharmas. One of the obvious choices that Pfizer have made and other companies will make would be to place their cash by buying some of those innovation happening outside of the vaccine world. For the vaccine field itself, we are looking right now at some of the proof of concept of things that you've discussed. For example, using those vaccine technologies outside of COVID. Influenza is the obvious next target, but there will be others. And then there's also already some trials trying this in cancer vaccine. BioNTech certainly has an ongoing trial with Regeneron in that respect. I think results expected sometime in the second half of next year. So the next set of news about the vaccine technology will be about its applicability outside of COVID.